Alright, gather round the campfire and let me spin you a tale that will chill your bones and make you think twice about wandering the shores of the Orkney Islands alone. We're about to delve into the eerie and unsettling world of the Nukelavee, a creature so fearsome that its name is often spoken only in whispers. The Nukelavee, a monstrous entity of Orcadian folklore, is perhaps one of the most terrifying and grotesque creatures ever imagined by humankind. The very mention of its name invokes a sense of dread among the islanders of Orkney, a group of islands off the northeastern coast of Scotland. The Nukelavee is said to be a malevolent sea spirit, with a horrifying appearance that combines elements of both horse and human, creating a nightmarish visage that has haunted the people of Orkney for centuries. This creature's appearance is enough to strike terror into the hearts of even the bravest souls. Picture, if you will, a grotesque hybrid. The body of a horse fused with a human torso emerging from its back, the head of the human-like figure swaying hideously above the horse's head. The Nuckelavee's skin, if it can be called that, is a thin, sickly membrane through which black blood and yellow veins can be seen pulsing and writhing like a mass of maggots. The creature lacks any form of hair or fur, giving it a raw, unfinished appearance that makes it all the more disturbing. Its head is large and hideously human, with an enormous mouth that stretches across its face filled with jagged yellow teeth. Its single fiery red eye is said to burn with an otherworldly rage, capable of paralyzing anyone who meets its gaze. The horse aspect of the Nukelavee is equally terrifying, with its fleshless, sinewy frame covered in a patchwork of raw, exposed muscle and blood vessels. The creature's breath is a toxic, foul-smelling vapor that wilts crops, poisons livestock, and brings disease to those unfortunate enough to cross its path. The Nuckelavee's origins are deeply rooted in the mythology and folklore of the Orkney Islands, where it is considered one of the most malevolent entities in existence. The creature is thought to dwell in the sea, emerging only when the conditions are right for it to wreak havoc on the land. The people of Orkney have long feared the Nukelavee, believing it to be responsible for a host of misfortunes, from crop failures and livestock deaths to plagues and other calamities. One of the most well-known tales involving the Nukelavee tells of an encounter by a local man named Tamas. Tamas was a sturdy, no-nonsense type of fellow, not easily scared by ghost stories or superstitions. One night, however, as he was making his way home along the coast, he found himself face to face with the dreaded Nukelavee. The creature emerged from the sea, its horrendous form glistening in the moonlight. Tamas, paralyzed with fear, could only watch as the Nukelavee approached, its toxic breath causing his skin to blister and his eyes to water. In a moment of sheer terror, Tamas remembered a local legend that the Nukelavee could not cross fresh water. With all his strength, he sprinted towards a nearby loch, leaping over the stream that fed into it just as the creature lunged at him. The Nukelavee, unable to cross the water, let out a scream of rage that echoed across the land, but Tamas was safe. He spread the story of his encounter, and it became a warning to others. Beware the Nukelavee and seek refuge in fresh water if you ever find yourself pursued by this nightmarish beast. The Nukelavee is said to inhabit the Orkney Islands, a remote and windswept archipelago with a rich history of folklore and mythology. The creature is believed to dwell primarily in the sea, emerging only when it seeks to inflict harm upon the land and its inhabitants. The island's rugged coastlines, with their crashing waves and jagged cliffs, provide the perfect setting for such a fearsome entity. The Nukelavee is particularly associated with the northernmost island of the group, known as North Ronaldsay, where sightings and stories of the creature are most prevalent. The harsh climate and remote location of the Orkney Islands have contributed to the preservation of these ancient tales, passed down through generations of islanders who have lived in close harmony with the land and sea. The Nukelavee is often seen as a manifestation of the natural forces that the people of Orkney have long respected and feared, embodying the raw, untamed power of the sea and the often harsh and unforgiving environment in which they live. While documented sightings of the Nukelavee are rare, the creature's presence is deeply embedded in the cultural memory of the Orkney Islands. The lack of recent sightings does not diminish the fear it inspires. Rather, it adds to the mystique and terror surrounding this ancient beast. Those who claim to have encountered the Nukelavee describe a sense of overwhelming dread and a feeling of being watched by something not of this world. One of the most famous modern encounters with the Nukelavee occurred in the late 19th century, when a group of fishermen reported seeing a terrifying figure emerging from the sea near the island of Sanday. According to their account, the creature had the unmistakable form of the Nukelavee, with its hideous, skinless body and glowing red eye. The fishermen, paralyzed with fear, watched as the creature moved along the shore before disappearing back into the waves. Their story spread quickly through the islands, reigniting fears of the Nukelavee and serving as a stark reminder of the creature's enduring presence in the folklore of Orkney. In addition to these sightings, there are numerous tales of strange occurrences attributed to the Nukelavee. Fishermen have reported their nets being mysteriously slashed, and farmers have found their crops withered overnight, their livestock dead or dying with no apparent cause. These events are often seen as the work of the Nukelavee, a malevolent force that strikes without warning and leaves devastation in its wake. As with many creatures of folklore, the Nukelavee can be seen as a symbol of the fears and anxieties of the people who created it. The harsh environment of the Orkney Islands, with its unpredictable weather and treacherous seas, has long been a source of both sustenance and danger for its inhabitants. The Nukelavee embodies the destructive power of nature, a reminder of the thin line between life and death in such a challenging landscape. Some scholars suggest that the Nukelavee may have its roots in older pre-Christian beliefs and mythologies. The creature's dual nature, combining elements of both human and horse, may reflect ancient shamanistic traditions and the belief in shape-shifting spirits. The Nukelavee's connection to the sea and its toxic breath, which brings disease and death, could be interpreted as a personification of the dangers of the natural world, particularly the threat of illness and environmental catastrophe. There are also theories that the Nukelavee may be a distorted memory of real-life events or creatures. The description of its skinless body and exposed veins could be reminiscent of the effects of certain diseases or medical conditions, while the horse-like aspect of the creature might be inspired by the skeletal remains of large sea creatures such as whales, which could wash ashore and inspire tales of monstrous beings. Despite its terrifying nature, the Nukelavee has not remained confined to the folklore of the Orkney Islands. The creature has made occasional appearances in popular culture, serving as a source of inspiration for writers, artists, and filmmakers. Its nightmarish form and malevolent nature make it a compelling subject for horror stories and dark fantasy, capturing the imagination of those who seek to explore the darker side of human nature and the mysteries of the natural world. In literature, the Nukelavee has been featured in various works of fiction, often portrayed as a formidable antagonist or a symbol of the untamed forces of nature. Its appearance in these stories often emphasizes its role as a bringer of death and destruction, a creature to be feared and avoided at all costs. The Nukellavee's chilling presence in these tales serves to remind readers of the ancient and enduring power of folklore and the ways in which these stories continue to resonate with us today. As the fire crackles and the shadows dance around us, it's clear that the tale of the Nukelavee is more than just a simple story. It's a testament to the power of folklore and the ways in which our ancestors sought to make sense of the world around them. The Nukelavee, with its grotesque form and malevolent nature, embodies the fears and uncertainties of a people who lived in close harmony with the land and sea, relying on their wits and their stories to navigate a world filled with danger and mystery. So the next time you find yourself walking along the shores of the Orkney Islands, take a moment to remember the tale of the Nukelavee. Keep an eye on the waves and a lookout for any strange figures emerging from the depths. And if you ever find yourself pursued by this nightmarish creature, remember Tammuz and his quick thinking. Seek out the nearest body of fresh water and cross it. The Nukelavee cannot follow you there, and you will find safety in the knowledge that you have outwitted one of the most fearsome creatures of folklore.